hello Yellow Army, and welcome to another Chairman's Chat, but a very special Chairman's Chat, a slightly different Chairman's Chat, because we're handing it over to you, the supporters, on this occasion. So your questions for Michael and Mark. And we have to say that we have been absolutely inundated. We've had a fantastic response, so thank you to everybody that has actually taken the time to actually submit a question. We're going to go through most of them, of course, because we've had so many, we've not been able to include all of those, but we will be shortly announcing plans for an in-person fans forum, which we will provide you with more details with nearer the time. But welcome, Michael, Mark. First question that we've got here is anything being done with regards to establishing a reserve or under-21, under-23 team to provide a feeder route to the first team and allow fringe players, those coming back from injury, regular game time? So a good question there to get things started off.
That's one of many things we've looked at on the football side. We've studied what other clubs do, particularly at our level. To have a proper reserve team requires infrastructure and investment. So we've costed that through. That's about £250,000 a year. And the key thing here, though, is that if you've got a reserve team which implicitly implies that you've got a much larger squad, and so we understand the need for players particularly coming back from injury or players that are on the fringes of the squad to get some game time. And so, but it's also got to be played at the appropriate level. There's no point having a reserve team that's effectively playing in a league that's in step 9 or something like that. So that doesn't make any sense to us. And so the reality is that given the limited resources that we've got and a very long list of investments to make, that's a non-runner, at least in the short term. I think as we climb the leagues and climb the pyramid, that's obviously something that we would probably contemplate being in place, particularly at the point we might enter the English Football League. And that's kind of how we've thought about that so far.
Yeah, I think we would rather help the first team with players there, young players, and a better squad, if we could, with the monies that are available. And obviously that's something we're going to look at the end of the season, depending on whether we get promoted or not get promoted. But at this particular point, the infrastructure of the playing squad is all about the squad at the moment, and trying to work with the college and obviously the academies and trying to move that forward, etc., which we'll obviously talk about a little bit later. But yeah, reserve team side at the moment is the money is better invested in the first team squad as it stands, and hopefully the fans have seen that. One of the questions we had at a previous chairman's chat is, and admittedly, I think at the time we were near to the top of the league, but we were very solid at the back, but maybe we didn't have enough creativity. I think now we have got that creativity, and it's about the blend of the players together and making sure that the more time that we have on the pitch, the more training that we do, etc., that's all going to come together. We hope, the Bryn Consortium hope, the whole club hopes that whole epiphany is going to be the playoffs. Well, it really, really matters.
So the next question actually takes us on nicely for that one. It says here, I would like to ask what the plan for an academy youth set up for next season to bridge the gap to the first team. Would it be beneficial to have an under-21 and under-23 side? And could we fund a Category 4 academy with sponsorship like Exeter did when they dropped into non-league? So a slightly different question there, looking at the academy youth side.
As you know, we've started that relationship again with the college this year. We're working really well with them, very close. And at the moment, they are putting something together with the first team. They've got players, potential, who could come and train with them, etc. We're starting to just build the seeds of that kind of aspect of an academy within the team. And I think we'll continue to grow that. There's also this ability to be able to maybe loan players that we get in to other local clubs. And in fact, we're going to talk about a local club that we're going to work with over the next few years to try and instigate that. So I think in terms of the academy, we all know that we get equal funding if we go into the Football League, etc. It's a very good question in the way that Exeter have put something together. We hope with our relationship with the college that we're going to be able to mature that over the next few seasons, and we're going to be able to bring those players through. We are acutely aware, and Michael said it a few times, whether being on camera or Torquay Talk or other types of discussions that we've had, in terms of we're acutely aware that we want to make sure the assets that we train and bring through the club, we're properly remunerated and the money comes into the club. So we're acutely aware of that. But you can imagine the priorities at the moment were getting training facilities, going to the college, making sure that we've got a great relationship with them, making sure that we can start feeding some of those players. I don't think Paul's got any problem with, for example, some of the young players and talented players coming in and going training with them, etc., and bringing them as part of the squad. So that's the sort of general seeds that we're growing at the moment within the club. And
implicit in the question is kind of how we're thinking about the whole football setup and youth development. And the way we think about that at the moment is the role of academy is a pathway into professional football. So we can develop and nurture our own talent and bring it through a pathway that hopefully ends up with them becoming first team Torquay United players. The second one is from a business standpoint, it's a process by which we can develop assets that we can then realise. And that's one area that we've got big fat zero on our P&L at the moment is transfer income. And the most profitable route, and Exeter's a really good example, as we've said many times before, but that's a long-term investment. And the question's a really good one. But so the way we think about it now is that we are at the very early stages of this relationship with the college. That will start to bear fruit, and that's a genuine academy pathway for the under-18s. And some of those better players that are coming through in the under-18s now get the opportunity to train with the first team, and that potentially could lead them to becoming first team players and getting contracts from Torquay United. Players that are on the fringes of that, I think we're going to be announcing over the next, few days, a deepening partnership with a local club. Don't want to steal the thunder of that announcement. I think we're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's on that. But that will give those players in the under-18s squad in the academy team that are close to, not quite ready, but need men's experience. They'll have an opportunity with this new partner club of ours to play men's football week in, week out. And that's kind of where we are at the moment.
So an exciting development there. You heard it here first on our Chairman's Chat. Some more to come on that, I'm sure. Next question, very, very straight to the point this one. What is the current state of the club's finances? Have the debts from the club that the club inherited now been paid off?
Yeah, so that's good news. So all creditors are being paid in full, as we promised. The admin process itself has been painful and expensive. And so I think that all said and done, and we're coming up the very tail end of the last pieces of paperwork for that. But the admin process has cost us nearly £750,000. That's not investment that's gone into the club. That's just to settle the debts of the club previously and to fund what's been a pretty tortuous and very, long-winded admin process. But it is what it is. We were eyes wide open when we came in. The administrative fees were significantly higher than were first set out, and that stuck in the craw a bit for us. But the good news is that, as we promised, that all those debts are now. So we're debt-free as a football club, which was our primary goal. And so, that's where we are. We're all done on that.
Yeah, the football administration part is very, very different to normal CVAs. And I feel very proud that we've supported all those local businesses and some of the main principal sponsors by paying off those debts. So that's gone really well. It was unfortunate from our point of view in terms of the management of that administration, in terms of there was some illness at the start of that, which prolonged matters. There were some increased costs, I think, higher than what we were expecting. And unfortunately, given that type of sector, we're not in a position to barter for that. We just need to make sure that Torquay's in a position that we're not in administration anymore and we can function correctly in terms of high street banks and all those kind of things. But it has been very difficult. Great heads up to all the people at Torquay United, all the backroom staff and everybody who hasn't been affected by that. And we've still been able to function as a football club, playing side and everything. And probably the supporters don't even think too much now about where we were a year ago. They'll remember it, but actually it's much brighter now than where it was. But there's been a lot of work in the back room to try and make sure and get us out of this. And, it's nice that it's finally completed and we can move on.
So just sticking on the point of finances, a slightly different angle though. Is there likely to be another share issue?
I don't think there's any plans for a share issue at the moment. From our point of view, the investment that we've put into the football club, obviously we've got now the infrastructure right. You can see all the commercial side starting to really improve. It's great. We're seeing at the Cove, aren't we? We're seeing like it's absolutely full for every game, from hospitality and match day experience. All those things we spoke about Chairman's Chat. Boots and laces, we've put money into there. Now the CapEx into them. There's more to go into there. We're doing work on the floodlights, etc. So in terms of the money within the football club, I don't think we want to bring any more investment from that side at the moment. Never say never. I mean, I have to say the relationship with the trust and the whole process, and we've spoken about this many times on Chairman's Chat, has been exceptional. You know, let's think about that family now, that family with the trust, the Bring Consortium, the supporters, the staff, it's really close, the sponsors, everyone is working really, really well. So whenever you do a type of investment such as bringing more money like that, you then start to change the balance of the way that club is being run as well. And I think at the moment, we're all a very happy family, and I don't think there's any strategy to bring in any more outside investment from that sort of portfolio at the moment.
We've got really good visibility on the business now, and we are already planning for next season and beyond. We were flying a bit blind, let's face it, at the beginning of the season on all fronts, and now we've got great clarity. And so we've got a business plan that we're in the midst of developing that has two scenarios. One is that we play another season in the National League South, and another plan which says that we play National League football next year. One thing that the Bring Consortium are in the midst of now is looking at recapitalising, so injecting working capital into the club that allows us to then fund and invest in that business plan in whatever league that we're in. And we'll talk at the Fans Forum, if you remember, at the Fans Forum that I think we held just before Christmas. We shared with fans, as we should. Fans own nearly a third of our club, remember, how we're performing against all those different revenue areas. And that will show that the club is still running at P&L loss. So if you remember that consecutively for the last probably 6-7 years, the club's lost £1 million a year on a P&L basis. We've massively closed that gap. But I suspect that when the ink is dry on our P&L for our first financial year that ends in June, that the club will have a P&L operating loss of around about 300,000, somewhere in that neighbourhood. And that's probably as a result, which will set out all the detail of the Fans Forum, but a lot of unexpected costs, particularly around infrastructure. And also we are making a very deliberate set of developments that allows us to drive non-match day revenue. Because pure and simple is that the way the numbers shake out is that there are 23 home games a season. We're still heavily reliant on match day revenue. So that's ticket income and hospitality, the bars, etc. And so months where we have 3 home games, we can break even in the month. Months where we have, and there are only 2 of them, in the season we have 4 home games, we can make a small profit. And months where we have only 2 home games, of which there are many, we make an operating loss. So when that all levels out on top of all the investments into the more invisible infrastructure pieces and investing into our org chart and into our offer to drive non-match day revenue, that should help. That should help close the gap next season.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hidden costs in terms of the SAG and the stadium, the risk assessments, getting the stadium back to where it should be, to National League status, etc., and potentially Football League status as well. So that's nearly been 6 figures to actually get that working around the ground and all the operations. So there's a lot of these costs that perhaps fans haven't seen at the moment. We haven't actually communicated too much because, like Michael said, we're new to this as well, and we're being informed through operations and informed by specialists in this area what the club needs to do to move on. what me and Michael and the consortium won't do is gamble on the football club, but make sure that the football club is in a very, very good state. That's what we care about. So there's been a number of things that we've had to improve at the football club, in terms of, it could be things like fire doors, it could be other aspects of safety, etc. And we've been taking that on board, as well as, obviously, like Michael said, the commercial revenues. I'm sure all the fans are noticing that when you go into Boots now and you see all the communication that's coming on social media, there's far more kinds of expectations in terms of bookings and getting tribute bands in. I think there's even speed dating going on down there as well. So there's all sorts of fun, being involved with the club outside of Saturday and outside of Tuesday. So lots of going in the background. Your first question was about investment. We don't have any problem at the Bryn Consortium about investing in the right areas to make sure the club can move forward. I think we're keen and good businessmen, so we need to make sure if we are going to invest, the club's going to make money from that investment and it's going to be viable moving forward. And then also we've got all the commercial revenues that are coming through. So we suspect that maybe this time next year we'll be in a stronger position in terms of whatever league that we're in. Although, admittedly, we go into the National League, there's going to be a bit of investment in terms of what we're going to have to do with the playing squad, etc.
So the share issue might not be on the agenda at the moment. I understand there's another way that fans might be able to get involved in terms of some sort of membership scheme.
Yeah. Again, watch this space. I think that's being announced imminently as well. We're starting a membership club with a ton of benefits for fans. And that will be a way. That will be also a way for the club to be able to raise revenue for the season, as long as fans buy into the offer. We think it's a strong offer, but we'll set that out again over. There's a whole number of things that will be coming through over the next, I'd say, over the next month, 6 weeks or so, as we head towards the season close, and the membership scheme is one of those.
Excellent. So watch this space. So the next question. Have we contemplated the possibility of running a club lottery, e.g. a portion of the money to the club each month with cash and merchandise prizes to the fans? It could be a useful revenue stream.
Yeah, and that's something that I know the Trust have been keen to sort of push forward. I know Rob Burkett's been doing a lot of work on that. Yeah. So it's something that we're very keen to push forward. What I've been really impressed with ourselves and the Trust over the past year has been the cooperation, but also properly looking at the gap analysis, looking at what is right for the club, how it works, what other clubs do, what's the template, etc. Even when we look at women's teams and things like that. So we're trying to do the right decisions at the right time. And Rob's been working really hard on that. And I think it's, as I say, watch this space. I think it's something that we're keen to move forward. Any revenues that we can bring into a football club, and bring more money for the playing squad or a better environment, etc., we're very, very keen to promote. Look, this isn't a normal business at football club. We've said it before in Chairman's Chat. It was at 87% of football clubs are running at operating losses. So, we want to get it back. Me and Michael are very keen, and the Prince Consortium, with this sustainable model. Every time we have conversations, board meetings, we talk about depth of squad. We talk about changes that we want to make. We want to do it on a sustainable basis. But we realise also that we need to make sure that the playing side is successful as well. What you called successful could be up to debate. I think so far this season's been very successful to see us in the playoffs at this particular point. So if we can match our success on the field, that will bring in the commercial revenues. Things such as lotteries and other aspects of money that are coming into the club is really going to help for us to move it forward in terms of playing staff, etc.
And going back to the lottery question, I think we're actually a lot more advanced than to the point where I think we're actually announcing that in the next couple of weeks. The new Torquay United lottery.
Well, I know you're going to like this one. It's a very positive one. Will there be an end-of-season awards dinner for fans, players, to celebrate the successes of the club?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a fabulous idea. I think the short answer to that is yes. I think the date is the issue. We don't quite know when our season's going to finish. I'm hoping our season will finish on May the 17th, but at the latest. And so let's see what the date is. But yeah, I think we should. I think this year, I think it's when the clubs come together, and I think we should celebrate that. I think it's been a tough year, but a fantastic year in so many respects. It's been a year of renewal, and I think we should celebrate that together.
Yeah, awards dinner and party, I think, would be right, yeah, for what everyone's been through, etc., would be fantastic. And it's probably going to coincide with almost a year since we came out of administration, just after that, maybe, or just before when we have the party, etc. Like Michael says, depends on timings. I suspect that we won't be able to do it till end of May because we're going to be in the playoff final, aren't we? Or we might even go up automatically, who knows? But yeah, so we'll definitely be doing something, and hopefully it'll be a great party for everyone. Whatever happens, it's going to be exceptional. Like we've always said, the fans have got their club back. The trusts are involved in the club now. There's loads of successes we can talk about, and let's enjoy it all together.
Certainly be plenty to celebrate. Now, next question, very interesting. We've had some great questions here. Are you considering a plastic pitch? It says here, I hope not, because it would be a risk, as plastic pitches are well known for causing injuries like ACL injuries, for example.
I think there's no chance of that. I mean, look at the football club now, look at the ground, look at where we are. I know you can get increased revenues, and obviously the weathering side of things, it's very useful in artificial pitches, but look at it out there. It's a beautiful pitch that we've got. We're trying to do more out-of-season type work that we can do on the pitch. Obviously, that's something we've got to talk it over with Julian, and timings and scheduling, etc. I know we've got the tournament coming up, haven't we? The Football Cup or as such. So, I don't think there's any plans for that. At this level of league, we see ourselves as, hopefully a club that can move up. And, we want to maintain our status as having a full grass pitch. And as you said, the complications with injuries is astronomical. And in fact, more recently, as you know, we won at the weekend against Tunbridge. But, that does take it a lot out of players, their legs, their knees, their joints, etc. And as you keep doing that, it is an issue. So, from our point of view, there's no reason to do that at all.
It's economics again.
Yeah.
So, a good quality 4G pitch is anywhere between £700 and £1 million. If you take someone like Maidstone, Maidstone tell us they generate about £250,000 a season for renting out the pitch. And once you get to the Football League, you've got to rip it up. And so, while stated ambition is that, we've set a 5-year horizon for us to return to the Football League, it wouldn't make any sense for us to rip that grass pitch up after 80 plus years here at Playmore and replace it. Well, economically, it might make some sense. Our ambition is to get back in the Football League, and we need a grass pitch. So that's a non-starter, really. Another area we are looking at is in terms of medium-term goal, potentially have our own training centre with our own pitch, which we can then leverage and rent as an asset, and that could be an income-generating stream for the club. And we've got some early discussions about that. But as far as Playmore pitches, that will remain a grass pitch.
I think it's a pretty conclusive answer. Another one regarding the stadium itself here. Is there any plans to redevelop the Babbacombe end in the future?
We haven't at the moment, have we? No. But I mean, let's see what happens in terms of if the club. This is going to be related to things like fan zones and things like that. If the club does get promoted to National League, clearly there's an abyss in terms of the monetary income that you can make with just the support that we have at the moment, which, by the way, is absolutely unbelievable. I know that's going to probably come up in this call today, but by adding more capacity, of course, that will give us more income for the club. But we have to do things gradually and monitor it. So if we do get to National League and we were able to compete there, and who knows what might happen then, there might be some plans to maybe redevelop Playmore. We don't want to move here. We'd love to see, the club go up to a 10,000-seater stadium. It'd be fantastic for the fans. But I think it's small steps. I think if we can get up the league, let's say by the end of the season, if we get up to, say, 5,000 capacity here, because we have, reached quite significantly 4,000, etc. But if we reach 5,000 and we start moving up, and the ambition then is to, do more and get more attendances here, then, why not? Why not? But I think it's small steps at the moment. The most important thing is fill this place out over the next few weeks on Saturdays, because obviously we've got no more Tuesday games now, and make sure we can get as close to that 6-2 capacity and really start pumping it up. And then if we do go up, then those sort of conversations I'm sure we could have about how we could redevelop and get more monetary income from the stadium and make sure that more fans can see their beloved Torquay United.
I don't think there's any immediate imperative to expand the capacity of the Wanderers away end, Babbacombe. There's quite a big space behind it, though, and that's just used really as we've got a reservoir for our irrigation system, and a lot of the groundsman's kit is stored back there. But that is an area that we could utilise better, potentially create some form of semi-permanent structure that can be leveraged on match days, but more importantly, leveraged on non-match days. And so we should think about that. but I would say that's probably quite near the lower part of our to-do list in terms of infrastructure development. Probably more pertinent is what we want to do with that green space next to the swimming pool, which we are still that's grinding its way through discussions with the council at the moment. It's very slow, annoyingly, frustratingly slow. But that's probably the one immediate area which we feel like all that area outside Boots and that green area, the kids, that what is mostly a dog toilet at the moment, with a playground in it. That's an area that we've asked the council to incorporate into our lease, and we wanted to develop that and make that a community multi-use area, including a fan zone for match days.
Well, actually, it brings us nicely onto our next question. It's is there any update actually on the fan zone outside the stadium? You just touched upon it on there. So there's obviously been discussions with the council, that area outside Boots and Laces. Any more that you can give us? Any details on that?
No, and that's what's been frustrating. We've had a couple of meetings that, for reasons best known to them, they've been cancelled. So we're still waiting to. We've had an initial meeting, but we're still waiting to get all the right people in the room so we can move this forward at pace. We're slightly frustrated by the pace of which things move at the council. I think there's goodwill there, but they don't work very quickly, and certainly not the pace that we want them to work at when it comes to tackling this issue. But it is what it is at the moment, and we're knocking on the door hard to sit down and thrash this out.
It's all positive, isn't it? But it's just the fact getting the right people in the room to make the right decisions. As we said, the fan zone, possible parking there, working with sponsors, a sponsor day, so each week or each game that we have at home, a sponsor could take it in turns and do a promotion of their sponsorship, etc., etc. There's so many things we can do, and we are building up all this community spirit all the time with results on the pitch, getting all the fans back in the stadium, everyone happy, everyone working together. So this is a great opportunity for the council as well to get involved in this and help us catalyse this, to really make it happen. So it's really important that we do get forward on this. I think we're looking at about 6 months to try and get a meeting with the right people in the room, and it's really important. I don't know if it's something to do with, is the May elections? I don't know, May local council elections? I don't know, but we do definitely need to try to get more inertia on that to try and move that forward. I'd like to think at the start of next season we could start utilising that area, even if it was on a covenant for a certain period of time, where we could get the fans involved out there, get our sponsorship more involved, use some of the parking possibly. So many things we can do.